In Dungeons & Dragons, when your character accumulates experience, they become more powerful, and their growth is reflected by them leveling up. And I believe that the same goes for D&D players. They can level up if they work on improving themselves enough and develop the right traits. Have you ever wondered what's your D&D player level? I discovered that there are 4 elements to a great D&D player: storytelling, gaming, etiquette, and chemistry. I developed this theory after running games for players of different skill levels. I've got my regular groups of veteran players, my on and off group with people of different skill levels, and I constantly teach new players how to play tabletop RPGs, including Dungeons & Dragons. By studying all of them, I noticed that the best players out there exhibit certain traits, but their growth is not linear. Sometimes there are newbies out there who are better at certain things than the most experienced vets. So what are these traits? Let's start by looking at the ones related to the storytelling elements. Follow the campaign storyline. Yeah, it's a very low bar, but it has to be said. I know lots of you guys love Final Fantasy VII, but suffering from campaign amnesia at every session is freaking annoying. Stop it. But you have to kind of forgive new players who join mid-campaign. It is unreasonable to expect them to know everything. Give them time to catch up. Then, tell your own story. It is more entertaining if your character is an actual character. It means that he or she has a background and a personality, instead of being an empty shell that only reacts reflectively to the world. I know it worked for video game RPGs, but it doesn't work around the table. Combining the two, you should think about the character's place in the campaign world. Where does he or she live? What's the character's relationship with other denizens of the world? And how does major world events affect that character? You can also connect with other characters in the party. Think about how does the other character's personality or background affects your character, so that there is something you can play off each other. The last entry in this element is creating a story arc for your character. Instead of just reacting spontaneously to events and story stuff thrown at your character, think about how your character's experience in the campaign affects your character's growth. Does he become jaded with all the tragedies he experienced? Or does she turn evil from all the power she's gaining? You can even talk to your DM and plan your character's future trajectory. I have got players who come up to me and said that they think their character would become more interesting if they grow in a certain direction. And I help him tell his story by creating a scenario where his character can lose his legs and get it replaced with chicken leg prosthetics. Look, don't judge. The rest of the party loved it. Okay, moving on to the gaming element, this is mostly related to knowing how the rules work. So let's start by knowing the basics and general rules. Know which die to roll, how to attack, cast a spell, and add your proficiencies. Then learn your character's class. This is what you have decided to play, so do your homework. Once you have got the rules down pat, learn to speed up the game, like roll your attack dice and damage dice at the same time. If you play a rogue, set aside all your sneak attack d6s, so you don't have to rummage for them every time. Less fiddling means more playing. Also, respect the DM's ruling, and, pardon the pun, don't game the system. Sure, if I made a small mistake, feel free to correct me. But if the DM has decided to stick with a certain ruling, let it go. The DM is planning something important. Trust the DM. The last gaming trait can be difficult to balance. Everyone would love you if you help them with the rules. But no backseat driving, please. Don't play the game for them. Here's a general life advice. Don't do something people won't appreciate you for. Etiquette. Wow. Here we are, folks. We are at the terminal stage of our civilization where being a civilized human is a feature, instead of something we should have been able to take for granted. Point being, hygiene. I shouldn't have to mention this, but unfortunately, I have to. Take a bath and do your laundry. I don't need to smell the week-old mac and cheese dinner wafting off your ahegao hoodie. Also, follow the schedule. Don't be late. If you can't come, then notify the others, especially the DM, in advance. And even if you've managed to come on time, there is no point for you to be there if you are not paying attention. Sophie, stop looking at your mobile. If you have learned to not distract yourself, let's extend that skill to the others, shall we? How about we don't distract the other players? Don't talk over each other or interrupt the other players when they're speaking. Look. When I say you, obviously I don't mean you, my viewers. I'm just saying that there are some people out there who really need to develop these skills. The last one is a bonus trait because it is usually quite easy to do. Bring something to the table. Snacks, beverages, or cover part of the expense for hiring the game room. These three elements, storytelling, gaming, and etiquette, are things that players can develop individually. Once they have got it, they've got it no matter where they are playing. But this last element, chemistry, can only be developed while you're in a group. So even if you're a pretty high-level player in your group, when you move to a new table full of strangers, you will be starting all over again. The surest way to start building group chemistry is to respect each other's boundaries. Helen, look, I think your level of comfort around us is very flattering, but can you leave your conversation about the best practices for tampon hygiene with Sophie for some other time? And nowhere near us? Ever? Learn each other's weaknesses and cover each other's back. This is quite self-explanatory. Don't leave the squishy party members exposed to danger and figure out team combos, like hold monster spells and action surge. Group decision making. Yeah, this is as real as it gets, mate. This might be one of the most difficult traits to develop. You literally have to adapt to each other's egos and quirks and start to work as a coherent team. Some groups operate better with group leaders, but others like to settle things democratically, so it is really group dependent. If you can work together, then you can develop your characters together. When you create intertwined arcs, it means that the spotlight doesn't just fall on one person at a time. So you don't have to wait for your individual turn to shine. Great DMs will try to connect character arcs, but players should be proactive. Don't just wait for the DM to do everything for you. The players create half the fun. So if you want to have a really good time playing, you should also put in the work and try to entertain everyone with your gameplay, character story, or whatever. This takes a bit of social awareness, of course. You should be able to tell the difference between what you think would entertain other players and things that actually entertain them. Grant, I appreciate your effort, but your boomer joke has got to stop. Pack it up and send it back to the last century, will you? Well, there you go. All the traits you need to become a level 20 D&D player. But before I end this, it is important for me to clarify that not everybody has to aim to become level 20 D&D player, or expect everyone to bring their AAA game to every session. Player levels can fluctuate. If you are busy with work or exams, it will naturally dip. Most importantly, don't force everyone to level up beyond their comfort level. It will just make you look like a jerk. It's not like your players are being paid thousands of dollars to play professionally. Sometimes a group just wants to play a comfy low-effort game. Notice how I didn't include character acting, accents, and cosplaying as part of the traits? That's because those are also group-dependent activities. Some groups just don't need the extra effort. But of course, you can nudge them a bit and suggest that maybe the campaign can get a little more fun if everyone decides to level up. Drop hints like sharing this video to the other players in your group. And if you're here because somebody shared this video to you, then hint, hint. Anyway, why don't you score yourself for fun? Put your level in the comment below. How would you score yourself? And what player level are you aiming for? By the way, if you are new to the channel, check out the How to Play D&D tutorial series I did a while ago, or some of my other stuff.